Thanks for joining us on Backwoods Pursuit. Today we're going to look at the 2019 Nemo Hornet 2P. This is the updated Nemo Hornet 2P, and we're going to look at the things that changed, the things that they updated to make this a more usable, a more livable shelter. We're going to look at each of the items specifically and individually so that you can see if what they changed actually did make an improvement on the previous model. The previous model had a few things I wasn't a huge fan of that made things like the wall sag in a little bit that wasn't my favorite. It was a very nice shelter, but there's a few things that it lacked that just really weren't the best out there. So we're going to see if these new changes affected that and made that better. So come along as we do that, and as always, we sure would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button for us. Follow us on our website, backwoodspursuit.com, and on Facebook and Instagram, Backwoods Pursuit. Come along as we take a look at these new features on the Nemo Hornet 2P. Taking out the new Hornet here, you'll see one of the first changes that they've made is they've color-coded the poles. Makes it super easy to set up so you don't get the poles mixed up one with another. So it just makes that process even that much easier. This is already such an easy tent to set up. It's super fast to set up, very, very easy. So it's just a breeze that way. So it's a nice change to even make that process faster and simpler. So that's the first thing. That's an awesome, simple change that they've made to make these poles color-coded. So let's look at the next thing. All right, so the next feature that has changed here on this Nemo Hornet 2P are these volumizing clips, the fly bar clips along the top. As you can see, you've got a lot more width here, whereas prior to this model, both of these attached directly to this middle pole. So it really pulled this middle area here where looks like they've added some mesh up here on the top that allows you to get more headroom, basically more headspace. And this is something where you've got one down here and then another one right up here. So these really do add a little bit of headspace, and it's not a ton. For sure it's not something that gives you just an absolute ton more headspace. It is still a small tent. There's going to be no getting away from that. But it does absolutely give you a little bit more headspace, and you can see, looking at it head on this way, where it's giving you a little bit more of that, maybe 5 or so inches of width up on the top of that. So that is going to reduce the wall angle here. So this wall angle, rather than going straight from this point of an anchor, it's out to here. So it gives you a little bit more there as well. The next thing that Nemo did on this new Hornet is they added these volumizing struts here. This is at the foot of the tent, and this is actually a metal strut. Well, not metal, it's maybe a very flexible piece of aluminum, something of that nature. But it allows you to attach this right down to here to your stake, and then you can tighten this guy up, and that allows you to get this foot room here. Whereas before, while you still had these two attachment points, that just really wanted to collapse and was really a problem with reducing the length of usable space within the tent. So that is really a huge improvement on this tent. It gives you a lot more interior space, something that was my number one issue with this tent before. Another change for the 2019 Hornet here, as you can see on the side here, you've got a white mesh, which gives you a little bit more privacy. And then as you go to on the top here, you've got a black mesh. Now the black mesh just gives you a little more ability to stargaze or that sort of thing if you want to take the fly off and enjoy the nice starry night. So it gives you that option. You can see that change in color. So it's kind of a cool luxury feature, but it is an improvement over the previous model. All right, so a quick walk around and through the fly on this 2019 Hornet. Very similar in appearance to the other model, to the previous year, so not a whole lot changed that way. Similar to the other one, you've got the cutouts for ventilation here on the head of the tent. Not a lot of change there. So basically this looks the same as it did before, just with some structural changes. So let's take a look at the inside. Alright, so another thing that seems to have changed, or changed for the better, is this volumizing guy out on the interior here. Now the last model did have this as well, but for whatever reason I wasn't able to get it to do a whole lot. So it seems like they've improved this to where it actually does, you can see it does put more tension on the inside of the tent, so it allows you to increase the interior volume of the tent. So that's an improvement, gives you a little bit more space on the inside. Alright, so here inside the tent you can definitely see that these volumizing struts here, this is at the foot of the tent, definitely lift the bottom of that and gives you a lot more space in the bottom end of the tent. In the previous model I had a problem with my sleeping bag touching the walls of the tent because of the angle, and so this definitely helps that. You can see that that clip here is also pulling it out away, pulling the wall away on the foot. So all those things combined definitely make this a much nicer tent to use as far as the length. These changes have helped. As you can see over here on the side, how much that volumizing guy out really is pulling that interior away. So it's giving you more space here on the inside. There's more headroom in here on the top. You can see from the inside, it gives you more there. So definitely going to give the thumbs up to the improvements from Nemo. They did a good job. They listened to the criticisms on this tent and have made it a lot better. Alright, so one final thing that I wanted to mention that I would still like to see Nemo change on this tent is in relation to this cutout here. I know it ventilates well, and so that's not necessarily the problem, but the problem can be with this is that this single wall portion at the head of the tent tends to want to sag just a little bit in wet conditions. And it's not a big deal in conditions when it's not wet, but it can cause a little bit of an issue when that wall wants to sag in on your head just a little bit. Basically, I wish there was a way to guide this out to pull that away, and that would give you additional room on the inside of this shelter. It would be something pretty easy to do. You can guy out this portion here, which is nice. It gives you, you can see how it gives you even more tension up on the top of that, but you don't really need to do that. But if you could guy out the interior, or if there was a way maybe to put an elastic piece between these two to guy that out and subsequently guy out the inside, that would be an additional improvement that could make a big difference on the inside of that tent. That's really my only complaint at this point, other than, you know, if you're a real tall person, then this is probably not going to be the best shelter for you. But for a majority of us, it would be just an awesome ultralight tent. So that is the 2019 Nemo Hornet 2P. Nemo made a lot of great changes to this tent, increased the volume on the inside of the tent a little bit, increased the headroom a little bit. A lot of the changes were just small, but they did make a difference on this tent. So go check it out. I'll put a link down in the description for you, and check us out on our website, Backwoods Pursuit. We've got a full review on this 2019 Nemo Hornet as well, so check that out. I'll put a link down in the description to the website as well. So we appreciate you following us here today. We'll see you next time.